Did you know that a single seed from a plant growing in your neighbor's yard right now could kill a child in under 6 hours? Sounds extreme, but it's completely true. Today, we're counting down 9 of the deadliest plants hiding in plain sight in neighborhoods across America. These aren't exotic jungle species. They're growing in backyards, front yards, and along fence lines in nearly every suburb. You've probably walked past at least 3 of them this week without knowing. And number 4 is so common that the American Association of Poison Control Centers receives over 2,000 calls about it every single year. Stick around, because this list might just save someone you love. That I've spent over 15 years researching plant toxicology and garden safety. One thing that still shocks me is how many deadly plants are sold at nurseries, planted in public spaces, and grown in family yards without a single warning label. Organizations like the American Association of Poison Control Centers, the ASPCA Animal Poison Control, and the Centers for Disease Control have all documented thousands of plant poisoning cases every year. Yet these plants continue to be sold and planted right next to where children play and pets roam. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss future videos on garden safety. Your support helps this channel grow, and honestly, this information might save a life. Now, let's get into the list. 9. Oleander. At first glance, it's absolutely stunning. Tall, elegant shrubs covered in lush evergreen leaves and clusters of delicate flowers in shades of pink, red, white, and even salmon. It's drought-tolerant, evergreen year-round, and grows quickly into a gorgeous privacy hedge. That's exactly why landscapers and homeowners love it. Drive through any neighborhood in California, Texas, Florida, or Arizona, and you'll see oleander everywhere. It lines highways, fills backyards, and decorates commercial properties. It looks like the perfect landscaping plant, but here's the dark side. Every single part of this plant is deadly. The leaves, the flowers, the stems, the roots, and even the smoke if you burn it. Oleander contains powerful cardiac glycosides, primarily oleandrin and narein. These compounds interfere directly with your heart's electrical system. When ingested, they disrupt the sodium-potassium pump in cardiac cells, causing irregular heartbeats, dangerous arrhythmias, and potentially fatal cardiac arrest. Even a small amount can cause nausea, vomiting, abdominal pain, and diarrhea within hours. In severe cases, victims experience confusion, visual disturbances, and complete heart failure. This isn't just theory. In California, there have been documented cases of horses dying after eating just a handful of oleander leaves tossed over a fence. Children have been hospitalized after using oleander sticks as skewers for roasting marshmallows. In 2000, 2 toddlers in Los Angeles were poisoned after chewing on fallen oleander leaves in their own backyard. Poison control centers receive hundreds of oleander-related calls every year. The plant is so toxic that during the Iraq War, soldiers were specifically warned never to use oleander branches as firewood because even inhaling the smoke can be deadly. Young children are especially vulnerable because the bright flowers and seed pods look appealing. Dogs and cats who chew on fallen branches are at severe risk. Even gardeners who trim oleander without gloves and then touch their face can experience symptoms. 1 leaf is enough to kill a small child. A few leaves can kill an adult. What's a safer choice? If you love that tall, flowering hedge look, consider planting hibiscus or crepe myrtle instead. Both offer beautiful, colorful blooms and can grow into impressive hedges. They're completely non-toxic to both humans and pets. You get the same stunning visual impact without turning your yard into a danger zone. And if oleander shocked you, wait until you hear about number 8. It's called the angel's trumpet, and it has a beautiful name and stunning flowers. But this plant has been used as a weapon for centuries, and it's probably growing within a mile of your home right now. Let's talk about it. Number 8 on our list is angel's trumpet, scientifically known as brugmansia. And the name couldn't be more ironic. This plant produces absolutely breathtaking flowers. Enormous trumpet-shaped blooms that can reach up to 20 inches long, hanging downward like elegant chandeliers. They come in white, yellow, pink, orange, and peach. In the evening, they release a sweet, intoxicating fragrance that fills entire yards. It's a kind of plant that makes neighbors stop and stare. That's exactly why garden centers sell it as a premium ornamental, and why homeowners proudly display it on patios and in flower beds. But here's what most people don't realize. Angel's trumpet is one of the most dangerous hallucinogenic plants on Earth, and it has a long, dark history. Every part of this plant contains tropane alkaloids, specifically scopolamine, atropine, and hyoscyamine. These chemicals attack your central nervous system. They cause hallucinations so intense and terrifying that victims often can't distinguish reality from nightmare. But that's just the beginning. The toxins also cause rapid heartbeat, seizures, paralysis, coma, and death. Unlike other hallucinogens, Angel's trumpet produces dysphoric effects, meaning the experience is not pleasant. Victims report seeing demons, experiencing extreme terror, and losing all sense of self. The hallucinations can last for days. This isn't ancient history. In Colombia, criminals have used scopolamine extracted from Angel's trumpet, called burundanga, to incapacitate victims for robbery and assault. In 2019, a Florida teenager was hospitalized for 3 days after eating Angel's trumpet seeds on a dare. Poison control centers across the southern United States report multiple cases every year of teens experimenting with this plant and ending up in intensive care. In 2021, a family in Texas had to call emergency services after their dog chewed on fallen Angel's trumpet flowers and began having violent seizures. Teenagers are particularly vulnerable because the plant's hallucinogenic reputation spreads through social media and word of mouth. Curious children are drawn to the spectacular flowers. Pets who chew on fallen blooms or leaves are at severe risk. Even touching the plant and then rubbing your eyes can cause dilated pupils and vision problems for hours. What should you plant instead? If you love those dramatic hanging flowers, try fuchsia or flowering maple, also called abutilon. Both produce beautiful pendant blooms in similar colors and are completely safe for families and pets. You get the stunning visual drama without the danger. And if Angel's trumpet concerns you, get ready for number 7. It looks like something straight out of a fairy tale garden. Delicate, whimsical, almost magical. Number 7 is a plant that looks like it came straight out of a fairy tale garden. Foxglove, scientifically known as Digitalis purpurea. Tall, elegant spires covered in bell-shaped flowers painted in shades of purple, pink, white, and yellow. Each delicate bloom is spotted inside with beautiful darker markings that look almost hand-painted. When a breeze catches them, they sway like little fairy bells. It's no wonder gardeners have loved foxglove for centuries. Nurseries stock it every spring, and it self-seeds easily, spreading through flower beds and along fence lines. You've almost certainly seen it in your neighborhood. But here's the twist. Inside those enchanting flowers hides one of nature's most potent heart-stopping poisons. Foxglove contains cardiac glycosides called digitalis. In controlled doses, doctors have used digitalis for over 200 years to treat heart conditions. It's one of the foundations of modern cardiology. But in the wild plant, the dose is completely uncontrolled and unpredictable. Ingesting foxglove causes severe nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and then the heart symptoms begin. Victims experience dangerously irregular heartbeats, a slowed pulse, and potentially fatal cardiac arrhythmias. Even touching the leaves and then touching your mouth can cause poisoning. The toxins remain active even after the plant is dried. This isn't rare. The Royal Horticultural Society in the United Kingdom lists foxglove as one of the most common causes of plant poisoning in gardens. In 2016, a gardener in England was hospitalized after making tea with leaves he mistook for comfrey. Poison control centers regularly report cases of children who put foxglove flowers in their mouths. In the United States, foxglove poisoning has caused deaths dating back centuries, and emergency rooms still see cases every single year. Even experienced herbalists have been poisoned by accidental foxglove ingestion. Children are highly vulnerable because the tubular flowers look like they're meant to be played with. Dogs and cats who dig near foxglove can ingest roots or leaves. Gardeners who handle the plant without gloves and then eat without washing their hands are at risk. The elderly who take heart medications are especially vulnerable because the digitalis compounds can dangerously interact with their prescriptions. What's a safer choice? If you love that tall, spiky flower look, plant snapdragons or delphinium instead. Both grow tall, offer vibrant colors, and create that same cottage garden charm. They're completely safe for curious children and roaming pets. And if foxgloves surprise you, wait until you meet number 6. It's so beautiful that brides carry it in wedding bouquets. It symbolizes purity and a return to happiness. But eating just 2 leaves of this delicate flower can stop your heart. Let's talk about lily of the valley. Remember I mentioned number 4 receives over 2,000 poison control calls every year? We're about to get to it. Number 6 is lily of the valley. And at first sight, it seems impossibly innocent. Delicate stems rising just 6 to 12 inches tall, lined with tiny white bell-shaped flowers that look like perfect porcelain. The fragrance is legendary, sweet, and romantic, used in perfumes for over a century. Brides carry lily of the valley in wedding bouquets as a symbol of purity and the return of happiness. Kate Middleton carried it at the royal wedding. It's been a garden favorite for generations, spreading naturally through shady areas and under trees. It seems like the most harmless plant imaginable, but hidden behind that innocent appearance is a deadly secret. Lily of the valley is one of the most poisonous plants in the world. This plant contains over 30 different cardiac glycosides, with convalitoxin being the most potent. These compounds are chemically similar to the drugs digitalis and digoxin. When ingested, they cause the heart to beat irregularly, slow down dangerously, and eventually stop. Symptoms begin with severe abdominal pain, vomiting, and diarrhea, followed by confusion, blurred vision, and cardiac arrhythmia. Even drinking water from a vase that held lily of the valley can cause poisoning. The toxins are present in every single part of the plant, including the red berries that form after the flowers fade. This isn't just theory. The American Association of Poison Control Centers receives over 2,000 calls about lily of the valley every single year. Children are often attracted to the bright red berries that appear in late summer. In 2014, a woman in Montana was hospitalized after accidentally including lily of the valley leaves in a salad, mistaking them for wild garlic. There are documented cases of people dying after drinking water from vases containing this flower. Even florists have reported skin reactions and feeling ill after handling large quantities of lily of the valley for wedding arrangements. Children are at highest risk because the berries look like candy. Pets who dig in shady areas where lily of the valley spreads are vulnerable. Gardeners who handle the plant without protection and then touch their face are at risk. Even something as simple as letting a child drink from a watering that touch these plants can be dangerous. But what's a safer choice? If you love that delicate, shade-loving ground cover look, plant sweet woodruff or astilbe instead. Both thrive in shade, spread naturally, and offer beautiful spring blooms without any toxic risk. You get that same woodland garden charm with complete safety that if you're still with me, you're already ahead of most people who never learn these dangers. And number 5 might be the scariest yet. It's an evergreen shrub planted in nearly every cemetery, churchyard, and historic garden in America. It's been used as a symbol of eternal life for thousands of years. But eating just a few of its needles can kill a full-grown adult. Let's talk about yew. Number 5 is the yew tree, scientifically known as taxus. And you've probably walked past one hundreds of times without a second thought. Yew is one of the most common ornamental evergreens in landscaping. It's trimmed into hedges, shaped into topiaries, and planted as foundation shrubs around homes, churches, and cemeteries throughout North America and Europe. The dark green needles are soft and elegant. The bark is reddish-brown and beautiful. It's been planted for thousands of years as a symbol of eternal life and rebirth. Historic churchyards in England contain yew trees over 2,000 years old. But here's the terrifying truth. Almost every part of the yew tree is lethally poisonous, and there is no antidote. Yew contains taxine alkaloids, primarily taxine A and taxine B. These compounds are so toxic that they can kill within hours. Unlike many plant poisons that cause gradual symptoms, taxine works fast. It attacks the heart directly, causing cardiac arrest, sometimes before any other symptoms appear. Victims may experience dizziness, dry mouth, dilated pupils, and abdominal pain, followed by convulsions, cardiac failure, and death. The lethal dose for an adult is as little as 50 grams of needles. For a child, even less. Disturbingly, the only part of a yew tree that is not toxic is the fleshy red berry coating called the arrow. But the seed inside the berry is deadly. This plant has killed throughout history. Roman author Pliny the Elder documented yew poisonings 2,000 years ago. In modern times, cases continue. In 2012, a man in the United Kingdom died after drinking tea made from yew needles. Emergency rooms report cases every year of children who swallowed yew seeds after eating the sweet red berries. Horses, cattle, and dogs have died after eating yew trimmings thrown over fences. The toxin works so rapidly that animals have been found dead still standing, having collapsed where they were eating. Children are drawn to the bright red berries and may not spit out the seed. Horses and livestock are particularly sensitive and have died from eating just a few mouthfuls. Dogs who chew on dropped branches during pruning are at severe risk. Elderly gardeners who trim yew hedges without knowing the danger may accidentally touch their face or food without washing their hands. What should you plant instead? If you love that classic evergreen hedge look, consider arborvitae, boxwood, or holly. All three offer year-round greenery, can be trimmed into beautiful shapes, and are significantly safer around children and pets. You get that timeless elegance without the lethal risk. And if you terrified you, wait until you see number 4. It looks like a crocus, blooms beautifully in autumn when few other flowers are out, and adds a stunning pop of color to fall gardens. But this plant is so toxic that it's been used to commit murder, and even touching it can make you seriously ill. Let's talk about the autumn crocus. Number 4 is the autumn crocus, also known as meadow saffron or naked ladies. Colchicum autumnale is its scientific name. This plant produces stunning goblet-shaped flowers in shades of purple, pink, and white, rising directly from the ground without leaves in September and October, when few other flowers are blooming. The autumn crocus adds a gorgeous splash of color. It's sold at nurseries as a fall blooming bulb and has become increasingly popular for adding late-season interest to gardens. It looks almost identical to edible saffron crocuses, which makes it even more dangerous. But here's what gardeners don't realize. Autumn crocus is extraordinarily toxic, and the poison cannot be neutralized by cooking or drying. This plant contains colchicine, a powerful toxin that disrupts cell division throughout the body. Colchicine poisoning is insidious because symptoms may not appear for several hours after ingestion, giving the poison time to spread through every organ. Initial symptoms include burning in the mouth and throat, nausea, vomiting, and severe bloody diarrhea. As the toxin progresses, victims experience bone marrow suppression, multi-organ failure, respiratory distress, and death. There is no antidote. The lethal dose for an adult is just 0.5 milligram per kilogram of body weight. A single bulb contains enough colchicine to be fatal. This isn't ancient history. People continue to die from autumn crocus. In 2012, a woman in England died after mistaking the bulbs for onions and cooking them in a stew. In 2019, a man in France died after eating leaves he thought were wild garlic. Emergency rooms report cases every year of foragers who confuse this plant with edible species. Even handling the bulbs without gloves and then touching your eyes or mouth can cause symptoms. Foragers are at extreme risk because the leaves closely resemble wild garlic and the bulbs look like onions. Children who help with gardening and handle bulbs are vulnerable. Pets who dig up and chew on bulbs are at risk of fatal poisoning. Even experienced gardeners who don't wear gloves when planting can absorb toxins through their skin. What should you plant instead? If you love fall blooming bulbs, choose Sternbergia or fall blooming true crocus species like Crocus speciosus. Both bloom in autumn with similar colors and are significantly safer for gardens with children and pets. And if autumn crocus scared you, get ready for number 3. It's a plant grown specifically for its dramatic foliage, towering up to 15 feet tall with huge tropical leaves. It adds instant exotic flair to any garden. But inside its seeds is one of the most famous poisons in the world, the same one you've heard about in spy novels and assassination stories. Let's talk about the castor bean plant. Number 3 is the castor bean plant, Ricinus communis. And if you've never seen one in person, prepare to be impressed and then terrified. This plant grows incredibly fast, sometimes reaching 12 to 15 feet in a single season. Its huge star-shaped leaves can span 2 feet across, creating an instant tropical statement in any garden. The foliage comes in dramatic colors, from deep burgundy to bright green, and the spiky red seed pods add even more visual interest. Garden designers love it for adding height and drama to borders. Nurseries sell it as an annual in colder climates, and it self-seeds readily in warm regions. But here's what makes this plant uniquely terrifying. The seeds contain ricin, one of the most deadly poisons known to science. Ricin is a biological toxin that attacks your cell's ability to produce proteins. Once ricin enters your bloodstream, it prevents ribosomes from functioning. Without protein synthesis, your cells die. And once they start dying, there's nothing doctors can do. There is no antidote for ricin poisoning. Symptoms appear within hours, starting with severe abdominal pain, bloody vomiting, and diarrhea. Then organs begin to fail. Death typically occurs within 3 to 5 days. Just 1 milligram of ricin can kill an adult human. That's less than the weight of a grain of rice. A single seed, if chewed and swallowed, can be lethal. This isn't theoretical danger. Ricin has been used as a weapon. In 1978, Bulgarian dissident Georgy Markov was assassinated in London when an umbrella was used to inject a tiny ricin pellet into his leg. He died 3 days later. In 2013, letters containing ricin were mailed to President Obama and other officials. Poison control centers report cases every year of children who put the shiny, mottled seeds in their mouths. Because the seeds look almost like jewelry beads, children are particularly attracted to them. Even handling the seeds extensively can cause skin irritation and symptoms if you touch your face. Children are at extreme risk because the seeds are colorful and appealing, looking almost like decorative beads. Pets who chew on fallen seeds are at severe risk. Anyone who handles the seeds without gloves and then touches their mouth or eyes is vulnerable. Even gardeners who grow castor bean for castor oil production have been poisoned through improper handling. What should you plant instead? If you love that dramatic, large-leaf, tropical look, go with elephant ear, canna lily, or hardy banana. All 3 offer bold, impressive foliage that makes a statement, and they're completely safe for families with children and pets. We've saved the most shocking ones for last. Number 2 and number 1 are plants that grow wild throughout North America, often popping up in backyards, ditches, and along streams without anyone planting them. And both have killed adults and children who simply mistook them for something edible. First, let's talk about poison hemlock. Number 2 is poison hemlock, Conia maculatum. And this plant is a master of disguise. It looks almost exactly like a dozen edible plants. Tall, with lacy white flowers arranged in umbrella-shaped clusters, and finely divided leaves that resemble wild carrot, parsley, or fennel. It grows wild throughout North America, popping up along roadsides, in vacant lots, in drainage ditches, and yes, in backyards. It can reach heights of 8 to 10 feet and spreads readily. Many homeowners have this plant in their yards right now without even knowing what it is, assuming it's just a wild carrot or harmless weed. But here's the deadly truth. Poison hemlock is one of the most infamous killers in plant history. It's a plant that killed Socrates. Poison hemlock contains piperidine alkaloids, primarily conein and gamma-coniceine. These toxins attack the nervous system, causing ascending paralysis that starts in the legs and moves upward. Victims remain conscious as paralysis spreads to their arms, then their chest. Finally, the respiratory muscles become paralyzed, and the victim suffocates while fully aware. Death typically occurs within 2 to 3 hours. All parts of the plant are toxic, but the seeds contain the highest concentration. The toxins can be absorbed through skin contact, and even inhaling pollen or brushing against the plant can cause symptoms. This plant kills people every year in the United States. In 2022, 2 children in Ohio were hospitalized after playing with poison hemlock stems as pretend whistles. Foragers regularly mistake it for wild carrot, edible parsnip, or fennel, with fatal results. In 2020, a woman in Washington state died after eating what she believed was wild parsley from her property. Livestock deaths from poison hemlock are common, especially in spring when animals graze on fresh shoots. The CDC and USDA issue regular warnings about this plant because it's spreading rapidly across North America. Foragers are at extreme risk because the plant resembles so many edible species. Children who play in areas where poison hemlock grows are vulnerable. The hollow stems make perfect pretend whistles, blowguns, or pea shooters, all of which expose children to fatal levels of toxins. Anyone who touches the plant and then eats without washing their hands is at risk. Even pets and livestock that graze where poison hemlock grows have died. What should you do? Learn to identify poison hemlock by its distinctive purple spotted stems and musty smell when crushed. If you find it on your property, wear gloves and long sleeves when removing it, and wash thoroughly afterward. Never burn poison hemlock because the smoke is toxic. Consider replacing weedy areas with intentional ground covers like clover or creeping thyme that choke out invasive species. And now we reach number 1. The most dangerous plant on this list. It looks like wild celery, wild parsnip, or even edible water parsley. It grows in wet areas, near streams, and in ditches. And it is considered the most violently toxic plant in North America. A single bite can cause seizures within minutes. Let's talk about water hemlock. And finally, at number 1, we have the most toxic plant in North America. Water hemlock, Cicuta species. It grows in wet areas throughout the continent, along streams, in marshes, in roadside ditches, and anywhere there's standing water. It looks disturbingly similar to edible plants like wild parsnip, wild celery, and water parsley. The stems are hollow and jointed. The leaves are divided and toothed. The flowers form the same umbrella-shaped white clusters as many edible plants. It blends perfectly into wetland vegetation, and most people would never give it a second glance. But here's why toxicologists call it the most violently poisonous plant in the United States. Just one bite of the root can kill an adult human. Water hemlock contains cicutoxin, a potent unsaturated alcohol that attacks the central nervous system. Unlike most plant poisons that take hours to show symptoms, cicutoxin works immediately. Within 15 to 30 minutes of ingestion, victims begin having violent grand mal seizures that don't stop. The seizures are so severe that victims can break bones and dislocate joints from muscle contractions. Between seizures, victims experience extreme abdominal pain, excessive salivation, and frothing at the mouth. Death from respiratory failure or cardiac arrest typically occurs within hours. The toxin is most concentrated in the roots, which smell deceptively pleasant, like raw parsnip or carrot. A single root contains enough cicutoxin to kill several adults. The USDA has called water hemlock the most toxic plant in North America. People die from water hemlock poisoning every single year. In 2018, a forager in Washington died after eating what he thought was wild parsnip. In 2021, 2 children in rural Minnesota were hospitalized with seizures after playing near a stream and biting into water hemlock roots they thought were edible. Native American tribes used water hemlock to poison their arrow tips because of its extreme lethality. Even animals know to avoid it. Cattle that accidentally graze water hemlock often die before they can be treated. Anyone who forages near water is at extreme risk. The plant looks so similar to edible species that even experienced foragers have been fooled. Children who play near streams and ponds may encounter the roots and mistake them for edible tubers. Hunters, hikers, and survivalists who attempt to live off the land without proper plant identification training are especially vulnerable. There is no safe dose. There is no survival margin. One bite can be fatal. What should you do? Never forage for wild roots unless you can positively identify the plant using multiple identification features. Learn to recognize the distinctive chambers visible when you cut a water hemlock root crosswise. If you have wetlands on your property where children or pets play, inspect regularly for water hemlock and remove it carefully using full protective gear. And if you ever suspect water hemlock poisoning, call 911 immediately. And here's your bonus tip. Walk through your yard this week with a plant identification app like PlantNet or Picture This. Check every ornamental plant against toxicity databases. You might be shocked by what you discover growing right outside your door. Oh, there you have it. The 9 most deadly plants hiding in plain sight in neighborhoods across America. They may look beautiful, innocent, and perfectly harmless. But behind that beauty are toxins that can stop hearts, trigger seizures, cause organ failure, and kill in hours. Most people walk past these plants every single day without any idea of the danger. And remember, nurseries and landscapers aren't going to warn you. These plants are profitable, attractive, and popular. It's up to you to know what's safe and what isn't. It's up to you to protect your family, your children, and your pets. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these plants shocked you the most? Was it oleander with its heart-stopping cardiac glycosides? Was it the ricin-filled castor bean with its spy-novel history? Or maybe water hemlock, the plant so toxic that a single bite causes violent seizures within minutes? Drop your answer in the comments. I read every single one, and I genuinely love hearing your stories and experiences. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button and share it with other plant lovers, parents, and pet owners. This information could save someone's life. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss future videos on garden safety and plant identification. By subscribing, you'll be the first to know when I post new content on protecting your family and making your garden safe. Your support means everything to me, and together we can spread awareness about the hidden dangers growing in our backyards. Thanks for watching. Stay safe in your garden, and I'll see you in the next one.